Here you go, guys. Welcome back. Right, what have we been up to the last couple of days? Since it's still, I'm on Christmas holidays now for a week or so. So over the last, well, probably yesterday really, we, me and my partner, we bolted the main frame of the dash back in the car because it's sort of at that point where they can probably just sit back in the car. Sort of got it mainly ready. Like, it needs another couple of coats of primer, and then just to sort of when we're getting ready to get in the end of it, we'll blow a couple of coats over it, and we'll give it a final sort of sand up, ready to paint with the rest of the car. Like I'll probably blow in around the jams and do the dash and on the lower sort of bits and pieces, and then we'll mask all that out before we put the doors and everything back on. So that's sort of there, and I've been blocked back the bonnet yesterday. It probably needs a bit more of a rub in spots, but there was a few marks, and there was actually I didn't realise there was actually a low spot in here. So I put a bit of that dolphin glaze in there. I smeared it on reasonably thick, but the rest of the bonnet hasn't come up too bad. And like considering how damaged this corner was, it's actually come up pretty good. But there was a few wee lower marks that I didn't. There's definitely not enough material to block out. And as you can see, I've come back to steel, in quite a few spots and along the edge. But even this edge it's come out pretty good. Like considering how wavy it was originally, it's not looking bad. So I'll give these a rub back later, and when we get some more primer, we'll give it probably another few good coats, and hopefully that should pull it up. It's not looking bad actually, really, like just generally, apart from those few marks. But I think everything else will come out pretty sweet. Along the front's looking pretty tidy. We just, not that this is seen, but I just just smeared a little bit in there just to fill up a few little pinholes and marks, just to tidy up. So if any either pull it off, at least it looks like halfway tidy. Locked back all the doors. This is the only one I've got in here at the moment. So these are all had a good block back, and generally they're looking pretty good. There's one back door that's it's just got a very, very light mark in one spot where I think just primer will cover it. I think may have to put a little bit of that dolphin glaze in, but it won't be bad. Just snip in here and show you. Not you can sort of see much, but I'll just pull this cover back and just show you. This is actually the one. These are just in here. I can feel there's just a light, very light dip. So hopefully another couple of 3 coats, and a good hard block back again. And she'll come up pretty tidy. The rest of it's looking pretty good. Well, that's how far back I actually had to rub back through here in the centre, just to get everything to flatten out right. And the rest of the doors are pretty good. But you can really sort of see, that's been rubbed back reasonably hard too. That's that one that was really badly damaged. And probably the only other thing too is it might just need when I get that out of the bonnet and everything out of the road later on, I might come along and just along that bottom bit to the middle piece. There's a couple of little spots there that probably need just a little bit of dolphin glaze in it too. And that other front door's really good, so I don't think I'd need to do much on that at all. Just cover these back up so any birds around here don't shit on it too much. It's a pain in the butt when they do that. Gave the roof a bit of a rub back yesterday, and it's looking alright. So that's sort of about that on the car, and I had a bit of a play with my gun and that paint, and unfortunately it's come up a bit average, but I think most of it was me just playing with pressure settings and fluid settings, but it didn't help that it was got a friggin' few bugs in her and shit like that, and I tried to tidy it up, but I'm just trying to think how old this paint is, and I've got a sneaking suspicion I bought this actually in the 90s, would have been the late 90s, but it would have been the 90s. So it's at least 16, 17, we're probably looking at 18, 19 years old. And unfortunately, well, that's mainly just thinners in there, but you can see all the thick shit at the bottom. So I don't think that helped either. It was full of, well, I managed to strain the worst of it out, but I couldn't get it to mix up very nice. And I don't, it was hard to get a decent consistency. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get one of those viscosity caps. And just when I'm mixing paint, does it say on the back of here? The viscosity thing? Does it? It doesn't really. On the backs of, I think the paints, not your primers, but your colour and your clears, they have a viscosity reading. It's like a little cup. Oh, it's sort of hard to explain, but it's like a mini version of one of these with a hole on the bottom of it. I think they're about 4 mil or something like that. I've just been doing a lot of research because I never really knew what they were either. And basically, you fill your cup up, hold your finger on the bottom, and then hit a timer. And when you let your finger go, we'll get somebody else to do it for you. Get them to tell you when you're going to. You just time how long it takes for that paint to run through. And obviously, there's a certain amount of seconds. Within sort of a couple of seconds, it should run through there. And so I was watching The Gunman, and I went through some of his real early videos, and he'd done a viscosity cap test, with some clears and some base coats and a few other bits and pieces like that. He just showed how it worked and all that sort of thing. It was quite interesting. And obviously it makes quite a bit of difference with spraying. And over here, I tried it a bit on here yesterday when I was just mucking around, and I couldn't really see what was going on with the paint. So I was just here playing with different air pressure settings and stuff on the compressor, because I haven't got an air pressure gauge on my gun, but I've got this. So I dialed it in. I think I started off in about 20 psi for a start off, and it was sort of like that. And then I adjusted the fluid needle a little bit and wound the pressure up a little bit, and I think I buggered around with the fan a little bit too, and it was a little bit small. So then I wound the pressure up a little bit. I was trying to get a little bit better atomization, but it's actually still quite hard to see on there. I think you'd actually need to be, the paper was alright, but it was sort of soaking in, so it was sort of hard to see. But so I was sort of playing with it, just trying to get the fan sort of size right and see if I could get a reasonable atomization. But I think between the paint being so bloody old and I was mucking around and trying different settings. And yesterday I actually sprayed that, and I ended up with a heap of bloody bugs in it, so I sort of stopped when I knew I had a little bit of paint left. Then I rubbed it back this morning, rubbed the worst of it out, and sort of the last couple of coats I did yesterday, I actually managed to get a reasonable sort of finish on it. We're just playing with settings too, and but when I come back today and just was playing a bit more, and I sort of ended up with pretty orange peely. So, but yeah, I think I'll get a viscosity cap, and I might actually. I've got some bits and pieces to touch up on the old Honda there. It's pretty rough in spots like that. Boot spoiler's was broken when I got it, and I started playing around with and bogging it up, but I'd like to sort of tidy up. There's a scratch in the door, and it's done a heap of Ks, but I think I might just get a little bit of paint and muck around with that too before I get into painting that, and get a viscosity cap and just play with that and see if I can get that a bit better, because you can see the orange peel, and this is pretty bad. There's spots some spots aren't too bad, but some spots are worse than others. It's hard to see because it's along this edge, it's flown out reasonable. It's not great, but it doesn't help the little fella friggin' dropped something on it and chipped it. But it doesn't really matter. It was only just a play to see how the gun went. Generally, I was pretty happy with it. at different points. It was just a matter of getting things to flow right, and I think that paint is just way too old. It just, was too inconsistent. Plus, it didn't help that I was mucking around with settings and air pressures and just trying to see if I could get a nice, easy, get a nice consistency, but it was pretty hopeless, really. But it's painted that, and that'll do. It's only a nice box at the end of the day. So that's about all I've been up to. I was hoping that was going to turn out a bit better, but yeah. So yeah, I basically finished with the doors and that bonnet and stuff. I'm just going to rub those bits of dolphin glaze back, and then I might give these start giving these jams a bit of a rub back, because I know they need a bit more work yet, but I might give them a rub back and just see what does need what, and smear a bit of extra bit of that dolphin glaze or a little bit of filler in spots, and tidy them up a bit better before I get some more primer, and give them a rub back. I might even do the same with give these back guards a bit more of a rub back, and I might even start with the front guards and give them a bit more of a rub back, and then I might try to get to the point where I'm basically ready for sort of the final sort of 2 or 3 coats of primer and give her a good block back again, and then give it just if it needs anywhere where I might have rubbed through back to steel or something like that, or if there's any other little spots that need a tiny touch up. Plus I've also, I've got to sort out a few more pieces and just but odds and ends that need painted too. I need to have a bit more of a sort through that sort of stuff and figure them out. I'm actually wondering where my bottom valance is too. That's something I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure there's something that bolts on in between the guards at the bottom. There's a piece that sits in here above and behind the bumper. It's a flat panel that sits in there that I've got to clean up, but I'm sure there's bloody something that goes across underneath. I'm struggling to figure out what it looks like and where I put it. So yeah, I need to have a bit more of a dig around, but we're getting there. It's a bit of a pain in the butt that I haven't got any more primer, and I'm going to have to wait until I get paid next to get some more. So I think it's about, by the time I get the primer and the hardener, I think it's about $250 for that primer and hardener, and yeah, it's a reasonable amount of a reducer in there. I might get away with thinners. Might get away with that, but I might have to get another lot anyway. So that won't be cheap either. So yeah, I'm probably looking probably $300 thereabouts, because I can't use it just that general purpose because it doesn't like the old 2-pack. So that's about where I'm up to. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll get back to you later on.